The Brooklyn Bridge has stood for more than a century. Hurricanes have hammered it. Millions of vehicles have crossed it. The weight of a city has pressed down on it every single day. And holding it all together? 14,000 miles of steel cable, enough to wrap halfway around the Earth. A cable only a few centimeters thick can lift hundreds of tons. An elevator rope no wider than your finger carries skyscrapers full of people. A mining hoist the diameter of a man's arm hauls boulders from depths that would crush ordinary steel. What makes this possible? What turns a block of iron ore into a strand of metal that refuses to break? The answer lies not in the steel alone, but in how it is made, from the fiery heart of a smelter to the precise geometry of a stranding machine. This is the hidden science of steel cable. The birthplace of steel. Every steel cable begins its life deep underground. In massive iron ore mines, the journey starts with controlled explosions. Drilling systems bore into solid rock, placing explosives with surgical precision. When the charges detonate, they fracture the earth, releasing blocks of reddish-brown ore, rock that is mostly iron oxide, waiting to be transformed. Hydraulic excavators the size of small buildings scoop up boulders weighing dozens of tons. They load these into mine trucks whose tires alone stand taller than a person. These trucks move in continuous loops, carrying ore from the blast site to the crusher. At the stockpile area, the ore passes through vibrating screens and magnetic separators. Dirt, sand, and coarse impurities are removed. The remaining ore is crushed into smaller pieces, then loaded onto rail cars or cargo ships. Each train can carry thousands of tons, each ship tens of thousands. This cycle never stops. Mines operate around the clock, feeding the steel industry's endless hunger for raw material. Into the electric arc furnace. When the ore trains arrive at the steelworks, the real transformation begins. Thousands of tons of iron ore are fed into an electric arc furnace, a vessel as tall as a multi-story building. Inside, giant graphite electrodes descend. They channel electrical currents so powerful that they generate heat exceeding 2,900 degrees Celsius. The solid metal melts. It becomes a swirling, glowing mass that looks like volcanic lava. This is not just heat, it is plasma, a controlled storm of energy contained within steel walls. But iron alone is not enough. Steel cable requires specific mechanical properties that pure iron cannot provide. Engineers add precise amounts of other elements. Manganese increases strength and hardness. Chromium and nickel provide corrosion resistance. Silicon enhances ductility, allowing the steel to flex without breaking. Quicklime and fluorspar are also added. These form a layer of slag that rises to the surface, acting as a natural filter. The slag absorbs impurities, sulfur, phosphorus, excess carbon, leaving the molten metal cleaner and stronger. Modern sensors monitor chemical balance continuously. Each batch must meet exacting standards. A fraction of a percent difference in alloying elements can mean the difference between a cable that lasts decades and one that fails in months. Continuous casting. Once the molten steel is refined, it moves to the casting stage. Old methods poured steel batch by batch into individual molds. Today, the process is continuous. The hot steel flows into copper molds with forced water cooling systems. As the liquid metal touches the cold mold walls, the outer shell solidifies instantly, while the core remains molten. The solidification progresses inward, forming solid billets several meters long, with square or rectangular cross-sections. These billets are still at thousands of degrees when they leave the mold. Rather than letting them cool, engineers send them directly to the primary rolling mill. The heat retained is too valuable to waste. Hot rolling. Inside the rolling mill, massive alloy steel rollers, each several meters in diameter, rotate continuously. They apply immense pressure to the billet. With each pass between the rollers, the billet is flattened and elongated. Its thickness decreases. Its length increases. This process repeats across multiple rolling stands. The billet transforms from a square or rectangular section into smaller semi-finished shapes, round bars, flat strips, or long slabs. The high temperature keeps the steel ductile, allowing it to deform without cracking. At the same time, the mechanical forces realign the internal grain structure. The steel becomes more uniform, stronger, and more stable, ready for the next stage. Cold rolling and reduction. After hot rolling, the steel is sent to the cold rolling line. Here, it will be drawn into smaller wires with precise dimensions. The process begins with cooling. High-pressure water sprays bring the glowing bars down to manageable temperatures. Then, the steel passes through a series of rolling stands. Each stand contains large alloy rollers that apply massive pressure, gradually thinning and elongating the bar with each pass. The cross-section, whether square or rectangular, is reduced and reshaped into round or flat forms suitable for wire drawing. Wire drawing. This is where the steel becomes wire. The material passes through a succession of dies, each with a progressively smaller diameter. Each pass makes the wire thinner, the surface smoother, and the internal structure more uniform. Wire drawing is carried out at room temperature, but it requires strict control. Pulling force, speed, and friction between steel and die must be balanced perfectly. A slight deviation can cause the wire to break, deviate in size, or lose the ductility it needs for cable manufacturing. Modern plants use laser sensors along the line. These sensors continuously measure wire diameter. Automatic feedback systems adjust the pulling force in real time. The result? High-strength steel wire coils with near-perfect dimensional accuracy. Forging the crystal structure. Reaching the correct dimensions is half the journey. To meet mechanical standards, the steel wire must undergo heat treatment. The wire is fed into a furnace and heated to extremely high temperatures, typically between 815 and 925 degrees Celsius, 1500 to 1700 degrees Fahrenheit. Inside the furnace, the atmosphere is tightly controlled. Gas composition and heating rate are monitored constantly. The heat turns the wire a glowing red. More importantly, it alters the internal crystal structure, realigning the lattice of metallic grains. This transformation gives the steel the ideal balance between hardness for load-bearing and ductility for twisting without breaking. Quenching. As soon as the target temperature is reached, the wire is guided out of the furnace and directly into the quenching zone. Jets of high-pressure air or baths of specialized industrial liquids rapidly cool the steel. This sudden temperature drop locks the newly formed structure in place. Without this step, the steel would be too soft. With it, the wire gains the precise mechanical properties needed for cable manufacturing. The invisible shield. Heat-treated wire is strong, but it is vulnerable. Moisture, seawater, and corrosive chemicals will attack steel over time, causing rust and eventual failure. The next stage applies an invisible shield. Depending on its intended use, each strand receives a protective layer. The most common is zinc galvanizing. The wire is thoroughly cleaned with a mild acid solution, removing all traces of dirt, grease, and microscopic rust. Then, it is dipped into a bath of molten zinc. The coating must be uniform, firmly bonded, and completely free of air pockets. Even a tiny gap can allow corrosion to penetrate, causing the entire wire to deteriorate. For cables used in extreme environments, offshore drilling, marine operations, and chemical plants, a polymer coating is applied instead. Temperature and pressure are tightly controlled to ensure the coating bonds perfectly with the steel beneath. No flaws hidden. Even after coating, the wire is not ready. The inspection stage is the final trial, where every flaw, no matter how small, is revealed. Advanced sensors examine each wire. Diameter must be accurate down to fractions of a millimeter. The surface must show no warping or geometric distortion. Tiny deviations, if overlooked, could become the cause of catastrophic failure years into the future. Data from each wire is recorded, analyzed, and compared against strict technical standards. At the first sign of irregularity, the wire is removed from the production line. This is more than a quality check, it is a selection process, ensuring that only the strongest, most uniform steel advances to the next stage. From wires to cable. Individual steel wires are strong, but they are not yet a cable. The stranding process changes that. The stranding system holds dozens, sometimes hundreds of wire spools mounted on massive rotating frames. As the machine operates, these frames rotate rhythmically around a central axis. They pull the wires under tension and twist them together into a precise helical pattern. Before stranding begins, engineers determine the appropriate core type. A steel core produces an ultra-strong cable, capable of withstanding high tensile loads. A synthetic fiber core, polypropylene or similar, makes the cable lighter and more resistant to corrosion. The wires are first grouped into smaller bundles called strands. Then, multiple strands are twisted around the core to form the finished cable. The geometry of strength. Throughout the process, sensors monitor tension, twist angle, and vibration. If any wire is pulled too tightly or left too loose, the system automatically adjusts in real time. The stranding speed is also tightly controlled. Moving too fast can deform the wires. Moving too slow reduces efficiency. Once the first layer is complete, the machine continues to wind successive layers, each compactly aligned according to the set design. Each layer serves a different function. Outer layer resists abrasion. Middle layer bears the main load. Inner layer stabilizes the structure. This distribution gives the finished cable both flexibility for installation and strength for loads of hundreds of tons. The protective film. A finished cable cannot be deployed without its final layer, a coating of specialized lubricant. This protective layer is applied either by immersion or high-pressure spraying, depending on the cable structure and its intended operating conditions. The lubricant is typically mineral or synthetic-based, with viscosity strictly controlled to allow penetration deep into the grooves between twisted wires. For marine environments, the oil mixture includes additives that resist oxidation and electrochemical corrosion. Proving endurance. After lubrication, the cable must prove its endurance under the harshest conditions. Large-scale hydraulic tensile machines pull the cable continuously until it breaks, determining its true load-bearing limit. Cyclic bending rigs twist and bend the cable repeatedly under varying pressures, simulating severe operating environments. Any sign of irregularity, microscopic cracks, inconsistencies in structural uniformity results in immediate rejection. Only cables that withstand every test are cleared for shipment. The final form. Approved cables are fed into industrial coiling systems. Winding speed and tension are continuously regulated by central controllers and load sensors, ensuring the wire does not slacken or overlap unevenly. Rotating turntables work in sync with transverse guide rails, placing each loop of cable precisely into its designated groove. Advanced production lines use cameras and displacement sensors to detect and correct deviations in real time. At the end of the process, cable ends are secured with hydraulic clamps. Traceability codes and batch data are printed directly onto the coil core. Each finished coil is mounted on steel or engineered wood pallets, tightly wrapped in heat-shrink film or oilcloth for moisture protection. Automated cranes transfer the pallets to storage. Forklifts move them to the logistics zone, where they are loaded onto flatbed trucks or specialized containers with anti-roll compartments. The journey is complete. From a raw block of metal to a high-strength steel cable, ready to hold bridges, lift elevators, and support the structures that define our world. The Brooklyn Bridge's 14,000 miles of cable have held for a century. That is not luck, it is engineering, a process of heat, pressure, precise alloys, and geometric perfection that transforms ordinary iron into extraordinary steel. Every elevator ride you take, every bridge you cross, every crane you see lifting impossible weights, all of it depends on cables made through this hidden science. If you want to discover more fascinating manufacturing processes, how the things that hold our world together are made, subscribe to Quit Tech Process. We go inside the factories, beneath the bridges, and behind the machines. We show you how the invisible backbone of modern civilization is built, tested, and proven. Hit subscribe. Join the journey. The next manufacturing marvel is waiting.